Here's how to install and run qmcp with Claude Code command line interface, or CLI. I'm currently running Windows 11 with Windows Subsystem for Linux, or WSL. The easiest way to set up qmcp is to make use of UV. If you know pip, UV is like pip. It does the same thing, but faster and with automatic environment management. First, you can check if you already have UV installed. I do, but if you don't, you can install it with this command, which I will include in the video description. Once UV is installed, to refresh the paths, open a new terminal window. I'll close the old one. And let's add qmcp to Claude by saying Claude mcp add. Now the name of the server we want to use and how to run it, which will run via UV. Claude uses scopes to make different MCP servers available from different directories. If you want an MCP server available from any directory, you need to set the scope to user, which is what I will do here. It's been added, so let's start up Claude and have a look at what MCP servers are available. You can see qmcp is connecting. This will take a bit the very first time you run it because UV is actually downloading and installing qmcp for us, and now it's connected. So the first thing is I am running a Q server on port 5001, so let's tell Claude to set the default server in qmcp options to localhost port 5001. And Claude should figure out it needs to use a tool to find the config file and set the port there, which it did. Well, I already used the default of the 5001, so it didn't really need to do anything. So one of my favorite examples now that we have Q up and running is let's compute this using Q. And we got 14, which is not exactly what we'd hoped for, but it's what Q says. Let's do a second demo computation. I want to see what divide by 0 does, so you can see the output as Q uses some funny values there. And first it actually used it as a comment. Didn't realize I want to do division, but hopefully what's the division operator in Q? Let's help Claude a bit here. There we go. Just needed a bit of prodding. Great. So now to make life easier for Claude, let's use Qython, and to use Qython we'll need to enable cloud mode in qmcp. And we'll need an API key as the comment says. Hopefully Claude will tell us that as it read the whole file. Give me an API key and my email. It got me a new key. Let's check my email. I got my email. There's my API key, so Claude should just figure it out. And now let's run the same two calculations again, but this time using Qython. So because I mentioned Qython, it will read the Qython help and it will set up the Qython namespace inside the Q session. And now, as it's translating, you can see that it automatically inserted the parentheses when it ran the Q code. And we can actually see what happened. It got 10 here, and here it got a formatted output. So Claude seems to be happy with this type of formatting. And it's always good to keep Claude happy, because then we get more accurate results. That's it for Claude CLI, and I'll have a separate video for VS Code and cursor setup.